Welcome to Gloria's Gab Live. I have an old friend with me as my guest today, Deirdre Nero. She's hardly old, but certainly we've known each other a long. We've known each other a long time and been involved in raising funds for the National Alopecia Areata Foundation.
Right.
But we knew each other before that. The first thing I ever went to that you did was a big fundraiser.
That's right.
And she put it on all by herself, which was pretty cool.
But almost by myself. I had some help.
Yeah. But it was so much fun. And we did that for a couple of years. And then we said, oh, we got Gringo Bingo. Let's help you out. So anyway, before we start talking about all that stuff, I have to thank my sponsors, South Florida PBS. You guys are awesome. If you're not a member, and I'm sure you are, you get a magazine once a month, which is really cool. And it tells you everything that's going on. And they also have an allhealthtv.com. Get a lot of great information from that. But this magazine has also information on great shows. One of them, they have a sex show that I've yet to watch. And I'm going to start recording it because I'm just too busy at night. But Dr. Leah has a sex show. So you can, I guess, email questions and stuff and get things you're too embarrassed to ask about. You can ask Dr. Leah. So I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Anyway, so let's talk about what we're doing in a couple, September 6th. Yeah, very soon after mini vacation. We're going to have a Gringo Bingo at Clutchburger, and which is always so much fun. But this time we're sharing the proceeds. The Coral Gables Women's Club shares the proceeds. Half of it goes to their charities. The other half is going to NAAF. In the past, we used to do it where all the money would go to a different charity. But because of COVID, everybody needs help. So we're kind of sharing things so we can spread the wealth. But anyway, we're really excited to do it with you because you always bring such a great group of supporters.
I try, yeah.
I know you do.
I like it to be a lot of fun, so we try to get as many people out there
exactly.
as possible.
And when we talked about it, the first thing that happened was you go, okay, I'll be sponsored. So we have Easy Title and First Empire Elite Financial and you as the sponsors already. And I think we have a couple more signing up. So we expect to have a big crowd and make a lot of money for everybody.
Exciting. My firm, Nero Immigration Law, is going to be one of the sponsors. And I'm really thankful to the other sponsors. So thank you to them for joining in, because obviously the more sponsors we get, the more money we can donate.
Yeah, and we have a little thing up here. If you can, I don't know if you can see it, but our flyer. I want to give a shout out to community newspapers because they run ads for us every month, pro bono, and Denise Abrera does our artwork, and she's awesome. But there
you go.
Everybody is welcomed. All you have to do is email me and let me know you're going to show up. So we make sure we have plenty of chairs. Actually, Threefold Cafe gives us extra space. So that's kind of nice that when we have overflow, when we do NAAF.
Nick Sharp and Teresa from Threefold are always so supportive of me. So I thank you to them and to Gringo Bingo in general by letting us use the space. And of course, to
Stephen Bradley.
The best.
The best.
Steve is the coolest host of Gringo Bingo. If you haven't been out, it's worth it to come just to be entertained by him. He makes bingo into a art form, I think.
And next week, and you're going to be out of town, so you're going to miss it, but he's going to host a game night at Bay 13.
I know, I'm so sad I'm going to miss it, but I'm finally going on a real vacation. I'm not going to bring my laptop for the first time in, I think, 13 years on vacation.
All of her clients out there, be aware, she will not be available.
Luckily, I have a full team of other people that will be in the office working so that we don't fall off track while I'm floating around on a catamaran in the Keys and the Dry Tortugas.
Oh, good.
Exciting.
Yeah,
really
that's
exciting.
Good. You have to put a lot of pictures on Facebook so we can see what you're doing.
Well, we'll see. I don't know how much of that I want on Facebook. Anyway. Suit time.
Yeah. So anyway, so I hope everybody's going to show up for that and to game night. We've never done this before, but it's going to be like a pilot.
It sounds like fun. So, I hope I'm around for the next one.
I know. Yeah. Well, we're just. Yeah, I figured you have to have Stephen. and
Yeah.
fortunately, Stephen and Nick are buddies. So,
That's right.
yeah, everybody plays together in the Gables. I
right.
think Steve just,
We all share the same sandbox and play well together, which is fun.
exactly.
I heard it's going to be Jenga, right?
Jenga,
And-
Trivial Pursuit.
Oh my God. All my favorites.
I think we have a bunch of, we were going to see as people sign up,
dominoes. I'm
kind
not
of
sure.
what the, and
Can't remember
dominoes. Yeah. No, we
yeah,
were
all the
gonna,
fun stuff.
yeah, we were going to see what people like to play and then kind of go with that. But we expect it to grow. So, but we're 2 weeks out and I already have like almost 20 people that have
Sounds
RSVP'd
like a
and
lot
we've
of fun.
hardly promoted it at
Well,
all
there you
yet.
go. So
Yeah.
now you'll get even more people.
Yeah,
after
yeah.
this.
So hopefully we get a lot more people. Yeah. So let's talk about why we're raising the money.
Yeah.
You actually have alopecia.
I do.
So you're such a role model too.
Well, thank you.
You carried off
appreciate
very
that.
well. Most people don't even know.
Thank you. Well, let's talk about it
Except
a
that
little bit, I
we
guess.
always no, but you're such a role ambassador.
Thank you.
Really.
I appreciate
and I know
that.
you go to national conferences and everything. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I would love to. So, I mean, I'm assuming that some people listening might not even know what alopecia is. So I'm going to introduce you to Christy. This is Christy. All my wigs have names. I'm going to put Christy here behind the flowers.
Yeah.
So as you can see, I'm completely bald. Alopecia is a autoimmune disease. Well, alopecia areata is an autoimmune disease where your own body attacks your hair follicles, and you can have hair loss that's just patches. You could have a full head of hair, but then have like some bald patches, which actually my alopecia started like that when I was 21 years old. So I had a full head of curly hair, very thick, very almost like Julia Roberts, Pretty Woman era hair, like very full and curly. And it started falling out just in like little patches that were like maybe the size of like a 50-cent piece, but perfectly smooth, right? So really strange when you find the first one and it's round and perfectly smooth, like almost like you're running your hand over a piece of glass and you're like, okay, something's going on here.
Yeah.
So obviously at that point I was 21, I'm 45 now. So this was, I've spent over half my life with this now in some form. But back then I had never heard of it. I didn't know what it was. When I got diagnosed, I was like, what are you talking about to the doctor? Like I had never heard the words. I didn't know what any of it meant. He was, granted, this was over 20 years ago. So there was a lot less information than there is now. But he was very, needless to say, I don't see this doctor anymore. He was very like, oh, you have this autoimmune disease. It makes your hair fall out. There's no cure. I can't really do anything for you. Like, goodbye. And that was like the end of that. And I was like,
wow,
what are you saying to me, doctor?
I'm
like,
a woman. You can't tell me I'm not going to have
I was
hair.
like, what is happening? So at the time, though, I still had like a lot of hair and I just had a few little patches. So, I remember I wasn't a lawyer yet, but, that mentality of a lawyer, I think starts with you at a younger age, right? So I was always like, okay, let me find out as much information as I can. Let me research. This doctor is not telling me much of anything.
Right.
So I went, I did my own research and I found pictures of women that look like I look now, completely bald. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember just feeling so scared. And I remember my mom saying to me, don't worry, you're not going to go completely bald. There's no way. You have so much hair. And fast forward, obviously, 20 years later, obviously that did happen to me, but not everyone that has alopecia loses all their hair. Some people just have patchy alopecia and it never progresses further than that. I was one of the lucky ones, I guess we can, in quotes, that has had all the stages. So patchy, and then kind of like the next progression that not everyone progresses to is where you lose all your head hair, but you maintain your eyebrows, eyelashes, body hair. And that's called alopecia areata totalis. So I did have that for several years. And then lucky me, I was one of the very small percentages that did unfortunately progress to kind of the severest form of the disease, which is called alopecia areata universalis, which basically means
It's
No
everywhere.
eyebrows, no eyelashes, no nose hair, no body hair, no
Oh,
head
really?
hair, like no hair. Hairless cat over here. Like nothing, no hair at all. So
But look what you
it looks
did.
like I have eyebrows. They're microbladed and makeup. From this far away, it might have the illusion that I have eyelashes, but it's just a lot of eyeliner.
Yeah.
I keep the eye drop companies in business because I have
You
no
do.
protection to my eyes. So I'm constantly with the eye
Oh my
drops.
gosh, I didn't think of that. Well, your nose too.
No nose hair. So I have basically allergic rhinitis 24/7 all the time.
Right.
So that's fun.
Nothing to
But I
protect.
will say, silver lining to the cloud. I do like not having to shave, not having to wax. It's very nice to be a smooth from the neck down. So I always say I love alopecia from the neck down. I don't love it so much from the neck up, but from the neck down, it's pretty good actually, except for
Well,
the fact that I get cold a lot easier because I don't have any body hair.
oh
So I'm
yeah.
always like really
You don't even think
cold,
about
extra
that, do
cold. You
you?
don't think about those things at all,
Yeah.
which is funny. And then obviously beyond the cosmetic aspect, this is a medical disease. It is an autoimmune
right.
disease.
Right.
And there are other autoimmune diseases that share the same, I'm not a doctor, so I always put it in very lay terms, the same like evil gene,
Uh-huh.
basically. And so a lot of us that have alopecia areata also have what they call comorbidities, which means other autoimmune diseases that kind of stem from that same gene profile. So me, I'm lucky enough to have 3. I have alopecia, I have celiac disease, and I have eczema, which are all related autoimmune diseases.
Are they, with
So-
all the gene therapy they're doing now, are there and the vaccines that they're coming up with and how they're able to alter genes, are they able to do anything? Because I would imagine that some of the money that we're raising is going for research. So.
Yes, it does. The National Alopecia Areata Foundation, where the funds, a portion of the funds are going to go to from Gringo Bingo, is the preeminent patient foundation for this disease. And one of their core missions is obviously research to find suitable treatments and hopefully one day a cure. People in the medical industry don't really like to use that word cure because you're mostly looking for a treatment more so than a cure. But I mean, wouldn't a cure be nice? So we always keep that dream alive because you never know what can come down.
And are there any new things coming?
There are actually. Yeah. It's actually a really exciting time in our patient community. We just got, I think, last month or the month before, our first FDA approved treatment for alopecia areata. It's been a long time coming. It is a drug called Olumiant, which is an Eli Lilly pharma company drug. It's a big gun. It's a big drug. It's what they call a JAK inhibitor, which basically they figured out through geneticists and people that just study the genes and the science behind it. That there's like this is my very lay explanation of this. I'm a lawyer, not a scientist or a doctor. There's like a gene that has kind of like this pathway that like talks, right? And it says like bad things, like kill the hair.
CRISPR? Are we talking
No,
about?
I mean, I don't know what any of that is called, to be honest with you. But the drug like kind of just damps it down and says like, stop saying for the hair to fall out, right? Like stop sending that evil message. And it just kind of like impedes the conversation, right? Like it just cuts the conversation. So if you stop the drug, unfortunately, your alopecia in theory will come back.
And of course, it's probably super expensive because it's not.
So brand new. We're I am one of proud to be one of NAF's patient advocates and one of their legislative liaisons. And so we do a lot of advocacy, and we see our next hurdle is going to be affordability of these drugs. They're thousands a month.
I would think so.
And you can't anywhere from like 3,000 to 5,000 a month.
So then this is just an inhibitor, but it's not like it's not something that's going to change.
No, I mean,
the DNA kind of thing.
Doesn't change your genes, So
yeah, right.
No, I mean, because also it's new, we don't really know like
Long term.
yeah, we don't have kind of that data yet on will you be able to stop taking it or wean your dose and still maintain your hair. And there have been some studies done because some of these JAK inhibitors have been used what they call off-label, which is basically like prescribing a drug that's approved for, let's say, rheumatoid arthritis, which is one of the comorbid conditions that.
Oh, really?
It's the same kind of bad gene. It's in that same profile. So, and that's actually how they discovered this, is that
sometimes by
there was a patient that had rheumatoid and had alopecia, and they gave him a JAK inhibitor for his rheumatoid, and he grew all his hair back. And they were like, "Whoa, what just happened here?" Right. So then they started studying that, and that's how they figured out that these JAK inhibitors do have some efficacy in patients with alopecia. It depends on how severe it is. It depends also on how long you've had it. So unfortunately for me, I don't know that I'm like the best candidate for these drugs because I've had it for a long time, and I do have the most severe type. So I'm not sure. I don't think I'm going to be an early adopter, but maybe down the road, I might look into taking one of these treatments. But the most exciting thing is just that the patients in the alopecia community are going to have options.
Yeah.
Which they haven't had up till now. The option has been a wig. The option has been, put a hat on, put a scarf on,
tattooing your eyebrows, that kind of
cover up options, basically, which is not really a great option. It's not the same to have hair growing out of your head than to put a wig on, right? Like it's just not the same. I do a lot of interviews about this, being kind of an advocate for the Alopecia Foundation, and I heard someone else say it, so I can't take credit for this, but it really stuck with me, and so I started kind of repeating this in some interviews and things that I've done. It's losing a body part. It really is.
No,
your hair is a body part. It's part of your body, and it's just as traumatic to people as losing.
Thank God you've
part.
got a beautiful head, but what if you've got a crazy looking head?
My mom always tells me like, "Thank God your head is so round and so like well shaped." I got lucky there. Who knew? Did. I mean, you don't really know what your head looks like until your hair falls out.
Oh yes, and wait, I remember years ago? Didn't you have jewelry? That she's like a great model for jewelry.
Yes. So my sister Aria is a jewelry artist, and when my eyebrows fell out, I had a really very hard time coping with that. Yeah. When you lose your eyebrows and your eyelashes, your face changes.
Oh yeah.
A lot, right? Like when you lose your hair, okay, your look changes and it's an identity crisis for sure. But then when the eyebrows and eyelashes go, it's another, I can't even express to you the feeling. Like you don't look like yourself. I remember looking in the mirror and being like scared at my own reflection. Like I scared myself. It's a horrible, awful feeling that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. You don't want that feeling. And so I had a hard time at that, particularly hard time at that stage.
Yeah.
And I remember my sister being like, let's just create like a beautiful, like big, crazy earrings, like very, daring and big earrings. And then let's have you be the model for them without your hair. And at the time, this was a while ago. At that time, I was dating a guy who was a photographer. And so we had him do the photo shoot. And I was like, you better make me look good or else nothing for you. You gotta make me look good. So the pictures are gorgeous. And
they were.
We had a professional makeup artist, and
we should have brought them.
They were outstanding. I mean, if you friend me on social media, my profile picture is one of those shots. And it's so funny because it's a little dated now. It's about 10 years old. But I don't want to change that picture because it's just gorgeous. I love it.
So
but that gave me the confidence to like, okay, I'm going to put both pictures online, and I'm going to start talking about this more in public, and I'm going to take my wig off and stuff. Up until that point, I really,
it was so brave of you. I loved that you did that, and we're so open about it.
We went to like jewelry shows in the and the design district in Wynwood. And you know, I took my wig off in public for some of the first time that I had ever done that. And really,
I'm sure some people,
it helped
you
me a
made
lot.
some people for the first time aware of it.
I think
I'm
so.
sure
I
people
have
say,
heard that.
oh, I've had thinning hair or whatever, but they didn't know what the disease was
Yeah.
until you. I mean, for me, you were like the
Thank you.
spokesperson.
When people tell me that, I feel really proud, because part of
You should.
advocacy is creating awareness.
Mhm.
You know, so I love at the events, you'll see, like, I always am bald at the fundraising events, because I want people to be gaining that kind of awareness and the recognition of what this
Are there
truly
many
is.
people in the area? Because I know
There actually are.
I thought so, because I remember the very first fundraisers you were doing, because you tackled this seemingly, it's like, okay, let's gung ho, let's start doing fundraisers, let's start, you know, you wanted to be proactive.
I tend to be a little
I'm not gonna
type
just-
A like that. Once I put my mind on something, it's like, oh, forget about it. Like I just have to
Yeah.
do it.
What can we
go crazy.
We've got to make this better.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's just kind of the personality I have and I've always had. But I
But you
guess
had
for
some
this stuff, it
really
works
nice-
to my
You
advantage.
had some really nice fundraisers.
We did two really fun casino night events.
Right.
The first one was a Roaring 20s theme.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And then the second one was a Havana Nights
I went to both.
theme. That was great. They were
Those are
both really
so
great.
fun.
Those are a lot of work. And so the following year, I was moving, and I was like, I cannot, around the exact same time of year, like in
Right.
the late part of the year. And I was like, I can't move and throw this enormous fundraiser. Like I will fully lose my mind. Like there's no way, because moving is so stressful.
Oh yeah.
And so I decided to do a smaller scale. And actually Nick Sharp from Threefold and Bay 13, and Teresa Sharp, his wife, they were generous enough to host a wine paired, I forget how many courses. I think it was like 5 or 7 courses. It was I mean, just amazing.
Wow.
Tasting dinner that we did as a fundraiser at someone's son, the restaurant that was in,
Oh yeah.
what do they call that?
That's one of their
Douglas
other
Entrance, I
places.
think.
They've got so many.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And it was a lot less work than like a giant
You
casino
think?
night. And it was really well received. And you know, considering how much smaller scale it was, we did really well in terms of fundraising. That was awesome. And then unfortunately the following year was the pandemic. So I had intended to go back to the larger event, and then 2020 happened. And
But when did we do
and-
the first one? I thought it
and I
was
turned that down.
2018. Gringo Bingo.
I'm not sure. It might have been
I think it was.
it might have been 2019, then
We
nothing in
started-
20, and then we did it again in 2021.
It was 2019. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's when we started.
Yeah.
We started at March
Yeah,
2019.
2020, like pretty much nothing happened. And then in 2021, we did Gringo Bingo outside. So people were
So
still
this
COVID
is the third one.
conscious, but this is the third one.
we're doing. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
3 times a charm. So hopefully it'll be the biggest and the best one
Yeah.
so far. We're really excited. It's always a lot of fun. And it's so funny because, the foundation, we have a local presence through, myself, and I run the local support group, and there's a lot of other people in South Florida that are involved in the foundation, but it's a national foundation, right? So they're always like, the people in other states are always like, what is it? Gringo Bingo? Like, what does that mean? Like, why is it called the Gringo? And I'm like, okay, it has nothing to do with like, it's the,
Do you
it's the-
explain
yes, I try
Stephen?
to explain Steve and the
Stephen is
nickname
from
of
the
Gringo.
Midwest and
Yes.
married in Venezuela. And
But it's so funny because I have to give like the whole explanation. Whereas people in Miami are just like,
I know.
they just laugh it off. They don't even, like think twice about the name.
At one point, I had somebody thought maybe it was offensive. And I go, no, it's not. He's a gringo. He's married to a Venezuelan. And in Venezuela, he's a gringo.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
for
but
those of you
he's
that
a
don't
funny
know,
guy.
Steve Bradley, like
He's a character.
he uses, I guess, Gringo as like part of his his nickname, basically.
Actually, he uses this room. We're in a new place. Did everybody notice? We got kicked out of the other place. I kind of like this one.
I like this one.
Yeah, this is really pretty.
It's very homely.
But yeah, so Stephen comes in and he has the restaurant dude show.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. He used to do it weekly. I think he's doing it every once in a while now. But
Awesome.
it's always fun. Yeah.
Does he call himself Gringo on that?
He's a restaurant dude.
Oh, the restaurant dude. Okay, he's
Yeah.
got lots of
Yeah.
secret identities.
So yeah. So we're it's almost time to wrap it up. So is there anything how does somebody support well, they can come
I was just going to say, come to Gringo Bingo.
come to Gringo Bingo to support it. But they can also come by and actually you can just go buy Clutchburger and drop off a check.
I mean, yeah,
Or
she
cash.
said it. You
Yeah,
heard it
right.
from the woman right here.
Yeah, right.
Dropping off a check is always great. I mean, listen, any support for the Alopecia Areata Foundation would be amazing. It's truly a fantastic organization. It saved my life. Before I found
know, and I can
before I
tell
found
you're
NAF,
still
I was
emotional about it.
a mess.
Yeah.
Very, and it really, they saved me, and they helped me understand that I could be an advocate and turn something kind of terrible in my life into something that empowered me and helped me to empower other people. And so I owe them an eternal debt of gratitude, which is why it's like my labor of love to raise money for them and advocate for them. So if any of that resonates with you and you want to donate, you know, you can contact me. And
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I really appreciate all your support over the years, Gloria.
Yeah.
I really do. You've been a great support.
And we have to thank community newspapers actually, because you know we couldn't do this without.
Yes, thank you so much.
And Grant and Michael, you guys are awesome. And Ilion, thank you for producing the show today. Before we say goodbye, I want to thank once again our sponsor, South Florida PBS. If you're not a member, you need to join. Again, you get a great magazine once a month, and you won't miss anything. So until next time, stay safe and have a good week.